Let's cut the fantasy. Cheating doesn't strike like lightning. It creeps in like smoke through a cracked window. Slow, quiet, but deadly. By the time you notice, it's already in your lungs. What nobody tells you is this: a woman who cheats never does it cleanly. She always leaves behind fingerprints on your routine, your peace, your gut. Most men ignore them. They explain them away. But the truth, you saw it. You just didn't want it to be true. This video isn't about paranoia. It's about patterns. If you've ever felt that numb ache, that tightness in your chest that whispers, "She's slipping," this one's for you. Sign number 1, she disconnects, but keeps smiling. She doesn't leave. She lingers. That's what makes it confusing. You still see her every day. She says good morning, but doesn't look up. You ask how she's doing, and she says, "I'm fine." Like a reflex, not a truth, but there's a shift, a quiet one. Subtle. Stoics feel it before anyone else. She's present, yeah, but her spirit is somewhere else. The laughter she used to share with you, now it feels rehearsed. The eye contact, brief, guarded, hollow. You crack a joke. She smiles, but not with her eyes, not with her body, not with the joy that once made her glow in your presence. It's the kind of smile you give a stranger in an elevator. She says she's just tired, that work has been stressful, that she needs space. But those are words designed to buy time, not build connection. And deep down, you know it. Not because you're emotional, but because you're observant. A stoic man doesn't ignore patterns just because they're inconvenient. He watches without needing proof. He listens beyond what's being said. And what you're hearing, what you're feeling is this: she's already begun detaching. Not in the way that causes arguments, not in the way that leaves suitcases by the door, but in the way that makes love feel like a J. Become performance. Because when a woman's emotional currency is being spent elsewhere, she has to ration what's left for you, and what remains just enough to keep things normal, just enough to stop you from asking questions, just enough to keep you from walking away first. But you're not crazy. You're not insecure. You're witnessing the quiet corrosion of intimacy. And if you stay silent about it, you'll start to disappear too. Not from her life, but from your own sense of worth. That's how emotional betrayal begins. Not with lies, but with the slow death of truth. Sign number 2. She starts hiding in plain sight. She doesn't slam doors. She doesn't yell. She just gets quiet selectively. You used to know everything, even the small forgettable things, the annoying coworker, the weird dream she had, what she ate for lunch. Now her life has compartments, and you're no longer invited into all of them. She still talks, but only when the story is safe, only when it serves a version of herself she wants you to see. That's the first shift. The second, the phone. It used to be just a device left on the table, forgotten on the bed. Now it's always in her hand, face down, notifications silenced. She angles it away from you when she types. You didn't ask for her password. You didn't accuse her of anything. But somehow she's already on the defense. And if you so much as ask, she'll say you're paranoid. Insecure, too controlling. But a stoic man knows truth doesn't fear observation. If something is real, it doesn't need a shield. If love is honest, it doesn't hide behind privacy. Because when someone truly values peace, they don't plant seeds of suspicion and call it your problem. This isn't about control. It's about contrast. Contrast between who she used to be, open, expressive, transparent, and who she's becoming now. Guarded, evasive, careful with the details. That's not growth. Ah. And the worst part? She wants you to question yourself, not her. Because as long as you keep blaming your instincts, she never has to explain her behavior. But the Stoic man doesn't need proof. He only needs pattern. And when someone starts living two lives, you're not imagining it. You're just the one left out of the second one. Sign number 3. Her body stays, but her intimacy doesn't. You still share a bed, but it doesn't feel like home anymore. The warmth is gone. The rhythm is off. Something invisible now lives between you. A barrier. Some nights she turns away without a word. Other nights she initiates, but it feels forced, too intense, too performative. Like she's trying to prove something or hide something. And you're left wondering which is worse. The silence that makes you feel unwanted, or the passion that doesn't feel like it's meant for you. Here's the truth most men avoid. When a woman is cheating emotionally or physically, her intimacy with you changes always. Sometimes it vanishes, sometimes it mutates, but it never stays the same. Because real intimacy isn't about frequency, it's about presence. And when that presence is no longer rooted in love, you'll feel it in your bones and your gut, in the quiet after. It will feel like kissing a ghost, touching someone who isn't really with you, like your body is being borrowed, but not cherished. And when you bring it up, she'll say, "You're imagining things. I'm just tired. You're being too sensitive." But you're not. You're paying attention. Because sex, when real, is a language. And right now, that language has changed. It's not fluent. It's not native. It's artificial. And here's the dang, fighting with you. She's fighting with her own guilt. See, when a woman crosses the emotional line or is thinking about it, she has to create distance. And distance often wears the mask of conflict because in her mind, if you're the problem, then she's not the villain. If you're cold, if you're distant, if you're too much, if you're not enough, then stepping out isn't betrayal. It's self-care. And here's what makes it insidious. She convinces herself first. Then she tries to convince you. And if you don't see through it, you'll start playing defense in a war you didn't start. You'll try to fix what was never broken. You'll walk on eggshells in a house you helped to build. You'll shrink to fit into the version of you she's made up, the one that justifies her escape. But a Stoic man sees the game for what it is. Conflict in this case is not communication. It's camouflage. It's her way of turning the spotlight away from her choices and onto your flaws. Paints herself as the wounded party. Then what comes next feels less like betrayal and more like freedom. But you weren't born to carry another person's guilt. And you don't argue with someone who's already decided you're the villain in their redemption arc. You observe, you detach, and you protect your peace. Because when a woman weaponizes conflict to justify disloyalty, the last thing you do is try to win the argument. You win by walking away from the game. Sign number 5. Her future no longer includes you. This is the one that doesn't scream, it whispers. No fights, no cold shoulders, just soft edits to the life she once imagined with you. She used to say, "When we get a place together, Now it's just, I've been thinking of moving. She used to dream aloud with you in every sentence. Trips, growth, building. Now she talks about healing, evolving, discovering, but never with you. Your name has quietly vanished from her. Stoic reality. A woman cannot share her body with you while her soul belongs somewhere else. And the longer you pretend that it's still the same, the more you betray your own intuition in order to protect her comfort. But a man grounded in reason doesn't deny the signs. He respects them. He studies them. And most of all, he acts. Because when the fire goes out, you don't blame the smoke. You check if someone's already lit a match elsewhere. Sign number 4. She starts arguments that don't make sense. You forgot to text her back. Now she says you don't care. You left a dish in the sink. Now she says you never listen. You gave a simple answer. Now she's questioning the tone in your voice. At first you try to fix it. You apologize for things you don't even understand. You replay conversations in your head, wondering if you missed something. But deep down, you know this isn't about the text. It's not about the dish. It's not about your tone. It's displacement. Presence feels tolerated, not treasured. And here's a final cut. She's not confused. She's rehearsing. She's removing you from her future before she removes herself from your present. And if you don't accept the exit she's already planned, you'll end up haunting a relationship that doesn't exist anymore. But a grounded man doesn't beg, he doesn't chase, and he doesn't sit in a space where he's being emotionally evicted because dignity isn't loud. He just quietly walks away while the other person still thinks they're in control. Let's make something clear. Cheating doesn't begin in the bedroom. It begins in the silence, in the unanswered questions, in the smiles that don't reach her eyes, in the "I'm fine" that doesn't feel fine at all. It begins the moment she starts rationing her affection, and you start convincing yourself it's enough. A woman doesn't cheat the day she's with another man. And chooses not to come back. The signs were always there. You just kept calling them phases. But a stoic man doesn't chase illusions. He doesn't argue with energy that's already gone. And he never begs for a seat at a table where he's no longer being served. Because once you abandon your own self-respect to keep someone close, you've already lost more than the relationship. You've lost yourself. So here's the final truth. If she had to betray you to find herself, she was never really yours. If this spoke to your gut, if it cleared the fog you've been pretending isn't there, comment clarity. Because clarity isn't pain, it's freedom. And if you're done guessing, doubting, and second-guessing your instincts, subscribe. Because around here, we don't chase shadows. We sharpen minds, and we never fear the truth. Fighting with you? She's fighting with her own guilt. See, when a woman crosses the emotional line or is thinking about it, she has to create distance. And distance often wears the mask of conflict. Because in her mind, if you're the problem, then she's not the villain. If you're cold, if you're distant, if you're too much, if you're not enough, then stepping out isn't betrayal. It's self-care. And here's what makes it insidious. She convinces herself first. Then she tries to convince you. And if you don't see through it, you'll start playing defense in a war you didn't start. You'll try to fix what was never broken. You'll walk on eggshells in a house you helped to build. You'll shrink to fit into the version of you she's made up, the one that justifies her escape. But a Stoic man sees the game for what it is. Conflict in this case is not communication. It's camouflage. It's her way of turning the spotlight away from her choices and onto your flaws, real or future. Not because of something you did, but because she's already halfway out the door in her mind. And here's the part that breaks most men. She's not asking you to leave. She's just making sure you stop feeling at home. No more plans, no more us, just space. Space she's not inviting you into. When you ask about it, she says you're being dramatic, that you're insecure, that you're reading too much into it. But the Stoic man knows people don't fantasize about leaving unless they've already started to go. First emotionally, then mentally, then physically. By the time she tells you, it's not a decision, it's a confirmation, because she's been practicing this departure for weeks, maybe months. Every conversation where she said, "I just need time," wasn't a request. It was a countdown. And every day you stayed hoping for warmth, she was adjusting to the cold. That's why her hugs feel mechanical. That's why her eyes avoid yours. That's why you're